Hello, everyone, and welcome to GG Speedruns. I'm Ferran Burgundy from the 1940s due to issues beyond my control, alongside 40 Watt Range here for this huge matchup in the 7th annual Smash TV tournament. We have the number 1 seed Brisulph, the 2-time defending champion, and number 2 in the world in easy percent on the leaderboard, taking on the 5-seeded Teleo.
Yeah, Teleo and Brisulph, this should be a good one. Brisulph's been complaining about warm-ups, but I'm not sure if he knows this. Teleo was doing the same thing earlier today, so I think we'll see some even matches here. They got all the bad out, and we'll get some good going.
We can only hope, but RNG is a fickle mistress, and we will certainly see that over the course of this best of 7, as these are 2 of just 4 remaining in the winner's bracket here in this double elimination form of the tournament.
Yep, this is basically the first match of the winners semifinals. Whoever wins this goes on to winners finals, and of course, if they win that, they will be in the grand finale. If not, they're going to go down and have a couple extra matches to go off.
Yeah, so things certainly crucial here. We are in the money rounds, and certainly, both runners looking forward to that. Big money, big prizes. I love it.
Yep, so this will be a best of 7 match because whenever money's on the line, we like to give the game a little bit more. We'll give the runners a little bit more to work with because this game can be a little mean with the RNG sometimes. But I see that both players are readying up and they're being counted in now, so we should see them start shortly.
And looking forward to it here. Most of these individual races should take somewhere around, I'd say, 5.5 to 6.5 minutes, depending. Maybe if RNG is really, really, really cruel, we'll see closer to 7. But with the caliber of these two, I think we'll see more closer to the sub 6:15 here as we enter Arena 1.
So Arena 1, we got the Razor Shield manip. That's why you see these players work through the demo first and then go into the game so they can have the ability shaves off like 1 or 2 seconds. Shooting for that 39 to 41 second range, preferably the lower, obviously.
And it looks like Brisulph with a slight lead, maybe about a second, heading into collect power-ups, and this is where our runners are looking to ideally see an early formulation of that orb.
Yeah, that orb is definitely crucial to going fast in this game. It doubles up your shooting range, your shooting power, and then on top of that, it uses up your ammo twice as fast.
Yeah, outside of that, other ideal weapons in this would be rockets as well as the Razor Shield, like we saw in Arena 1. You generally want to not find the grenades. Those are probably the least valuable weapon. And some of those kind of empty drops of a foot, which increases your speed. Also a 1-up, also known as a Duke, giving you an extra life, just to name a couple.
Brisulph left at 117, Teleo at 125, so Brisulph clearly in the lead right now. Both of them did get an orb during collect power-ups, so luckily we got some even matches going on. They both have bombs sitting on deck, so they're just both going to ignore that because we are in Eat My Shrapnel, where you have to kill 18 of these shrapnels, and bombs usually will add a 2-second delay to each one of those because it kind of shuts the doors and prevents the spawning. Brisulph out at a 2 flat into total carnage. Teleo at a 207 really late, maybe early 208, so basically the same going in, no time really lost.
Yep, with Eat My Shrapnel, you can not really gain time, but you can certainly lose time. So pretty much the same deficit here as now we see the business pick up here in Total Carnage.
Brisulph getting the Razor Shield and the rocket, so he's sitting pretty. Meanwhile, Teleo's just controlling the center with an orb. When this room ain't too bad, so if you got an orb, you can definitely control it easily.
Yeah, keeping those firing lanes open in the middle, certainly important.
Got Brisulph with rockets. He's leaving at a 254, 55. I guess there was a shrapnel, maybe.
I'd buy that for $1.
Teleo in at 302, 303. So again, nothing's really changed as far as the lead. They've both held on. It's just Brisulph's had slightly better drops this whole time, so it gave him a better head start. He is walking into tank trouble though with some rockets.
A little breather, but only for a moment, as now we're in tank trouble. One of the toughest rooms in the game, as here in the early going, you see a spawn rate akin to Arena 3, which you would see in normal and hard percent.
Yeah, the game definitely in Arena 1 kind of teaches you how to play and ramps up, and then by the time you get here, you're getting the full game at full force. It definitely shows you which runners are seasoned and which aren't. Oddly enough, though, a lot of our seasoned runners have actually been having some issues with this room, including myself, so... But look at this, 403 for Brisulph. This might be his best run from the evening so far.
I'd buy that for $1.
Well, Brisulph, who's been very critical of himself here, is probably looking for this to set the tone here as we are into Mutoid Man. You need a weapon. Your little pea shooter not going to do any damage to Mutoid Man. Ideally, you're looking for a spreader to take advantage of the multi-damage by really getting it in there. I think it's 9 times damage.
Yeah, both of them getting the ball buster, so that's nice. Teleo did lose about 2 or 3 seconds. Brisulph, though, now with the spreader in a perfect spot. Mutoid Man's not going to block it either, so this is good. Even comes down to him, so that's awesome. Another spreader for Brisulph. Is he going to die and try to get it? I think he got vibrated, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Teleo getting sabotaged with some grenades. Gets a spreader, going manual, pops the arm. Brisulph's about a form ahead.
You have a glitchoid over on Brisulph's side.
Teleo now popping the chest. Meanwhile, Brisulph has a dead drop, so he's just going to clean up these shrapnels and take a gamble. Unfortunately, gets another dead drop of a key. Teleo now pops the head, so Teleo now is in the lead. Meanwhile, Brisulph now popping the head, so not by much, but still, advantage Teleo because he has the better drops right now. Now he's on final form. Brisulph hammering away with some lobbers on a penultimate form, but Teleo definitely in the lead, but he takes a death. He's going to miss these lobbers as well because he gets a little pseudo blocked right there. Now Brisulph on final form.
Brisulph. Grenades, decent damage per second, but the lobbers a little bit more consistent. Can Bry catch up here with the lobbers? He cannot, and Teleo, just by a split second, going to take game 1.
Yeah, that was a good comeback from Teleo there. Just the RNG working against Brisulph a little bit. So it's a 615 to a 619-ish, 620 on Brisulph's side. So Teleo taking game 1, and maybe that just causes a snowball effect in Brisulph's head with what he was feeling earlier. I don't know. Hopefully not.
Well, this is, I think, where Bry has a chance to bounce back. I mean, Teleo is a good player. As you said, I think it's mostly mental at this point. As long as Bry doesn't think, here we go again, and actually just kind of plays as he is capable. I mean, RNG sometimes is going to RNG. Just kind of toss that aside. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, one at a time. We're really early. It's best of 7, so easily grab 1 or 2 up here. Plenty of people have done it before, so nothing to worry about. It is definitely all mental. You don't want to. Once you start letting this game get to you, it can really do a number. So,
why do you think I'm here in the booth?
Same.
Well, you've had a little more measured success than I have in playing the game. In the booth, it's about even.
I'm sure you're further along in a booth career than I am.
Well,
All right, so game 2 underway. Got Manip set up, get the Razor Shield, get out of here around 39 seconds, and be on the collect power-ups. Teleo working around. It's definitely one strategy. Sometimes you can try to be really aggressive with it, and it doesn't necessarily speed anything up, but it might give you the advantage of breaking all of the Razor Shield off. So it gives you like a half second maybe. Brisulph at a 39, Teleo at a 41, so roughly 2 seconds for Brisulph right now out of Arena 1.
yeah. So far, pretty good for both runners here, but again, collect power-ups. That's where we can see things swing one way or the other here.
Yeah, Teleo getting rockets early, so he's cleaning up, but now Brisulph getting an orb, so that should even up any advantage Teleo got early. At this point, though, you just keep the centers clean. Rockets can do it, so Teleo still, though, hunting for that orb. 118 for Brisulph, 120 for Teleo, so 2 seconds still.
Yeah, this caliber of play, pretty much anything under 80 seconds is what you're looking to get into Eat My Shrapnel as far as the time.
So here we got the 18 shrapnel that must be destroyed along with the foot soldiers and the grunts. You can let them blow up. A lot of people have been scrambling. Teleo getting the orb though, so that's good. So as long as he doesn't lose any time before this, they should be still 2 seconds apart. It's basically like an auto scroller.
Yep, once those 4 are on the screen, no others can spawn, so that's where the time can start to bleed.
Teleo walking out with a full clip of rockets, taking care of most of the shrapnels, now getting a Razor Shield, so he's sitting pretty for the very beginning of this run. Meanwhile, Brisulph with a Razor Shield of his own. Now spreaders for the both of them. So they're both just working this, both getting equal drops, so that's good. Both now have a drop they don't want, so they're going to ignore it. Still using that Razor Shield to just protect themselves, not being too aggressive with it. Brisulph now getting a spreader, so that should give him a slight advantage over Teleo. For the most of it, though, they're both getting kind of the equal drops. Brisulph maybe 1 or 2 better ones as he's finishing up at a 252 and Teleo at a 254, so it's still a 2-second difference.
I'd buy that for $1.
And we got some kind of product placement. Anything you want to plug, Fearon?
No, I think we should just plug Smash TV because it is a fantastic game, especially if you're into shooters, and this is a good way to get yourself into the mix here. Just giving easy percent a go. It has its challenges, but it's something pretty much everybody can do.
It's true. Now in tank trouble, both with orbs. Teleo having to dance to keep it alive. Brisulph a little more chill. They both have taken care of one gunner on the right. Holding the center though. Unfortunately, Teleo's now taking a corner. That's going to end up slowing him down, but better safe than sorry. Now a spreader for Teleo, so that'll give him the center back. Brisulph now running around like a madman himself, using a bomb to clean that up. Both of them taking care of the to the left gunner. So Teleo with a Razor Shield. Brisulph will be out at a 409, so a little, good bomb usage on Teleo. He'll be out at a 14, so lost a little bit of time, but just basically half a drop's worth. Great spreader grab by Brisulph right there. It was going to get covered up, so he's taking it. He's baiting him one way, baiting the other. Unfortunately, he gets ran over. Meanwhile, Teleo losing the orb, but still pounding away with lobbers. Brisulph getting grenades now, popping the first arm. Teleo with grenades of his own, now popping the first arm as well, with Brisulph hammering away with rockets. Now Teleo with rockets, so pretty much as even as this can be. A spreader for Teleo, but he can't really get much with it. Brisulph taking the gamble death as the invulnerability disappears. Unfortunately, it's just a lobber. Teleo having to go clear across the room for some grenades. Brisulph popping the chest. Teleo should be popping the chest any moment now as well. Brisulph taking a death as the chest goes on Teleo's side. So Brisulph rewarded with the spreader though, so he could get some good damage all the way down to final form. Unfortunately losing the shield though, so that's not going to happen. Backing up to the lobbers now. Both of them on the final form basically at the same time. Or no, not the final form. I'm sorry. They both switch forms at the same time. Brisulph on the final, Teleo on the penultimate.
So Bry with the lead here just needs to finish it off. Teleo needs a spreader, needs it now, but even with that, it's too late as Brisulph evens this at 1 game apiece.
So yeah, 606 for Brisulph. Teleo still finishing it up with some lobbers. Now rockets, now grenades finally popping the head, so he'll be out at about a 35. Or a 633, same thing. All right, GG's to both. This is 1-1. So as they say, once was a game of 7 is now a game of 5.
Yep, best of 7 is now a best of 5. We're all even Steven here. And game number 3 coming your way. But first, Glenn Miller and his orchestra, along with Frank... Wait, what is this DMCA thing you're talking about? Oh, well.
Can we get a good "Oh the Humanity"?
Maybe after the next race.
All right, both of them readying up in the chat. We should see them counted in soon. Hopefully Brisulph, okay, yeah, resets that timer. All right. Game number 3. Should see this start any moment now.
Good luck.
All right, here we go into Arena 1. So for those of you wondering what the difference between, easy, normal, hard, easy is only the first circuit of the game you play up until Mutoid Man, and then it boots you out back to the title screen, as well as you get about a third extra ammunition on your clips. Whereas normal, we would just say as normal as the full game, and then hard basically gives you 2/3 of the clips, so nothing else different, is just the ammunition basically.
Good luck. You'll need it.
All right, I didn't see the times, but I'm seeing the high 37 with a nice smart bomb usage on Brisulph's end. Teleo probably about 3 or 4 seconds back. Brisulph getting rockets. Teleo using the smart bomb just to get it out of the way. Feet for Teleo, just pure garbage. Meanwhile, Brisulph just using this rocket to keep everything clean. Now it's ran out while Teleo gets a razor shield and just Captain America, that eat my shrapnel guy. The Mr. Shrapnel.
That's a spicy time on Bry's side. Was that 75?
Oh man, unfortunately I didn't even see. I was looking at Teleo. Even more impressive because he does not have an orb, so neither does Teleo. They're both going to be fighting for that now and eat my shrapnel. And if you don't get the drops for this room, it can become a little out of hand. But both of them getting a razor shield, so they can kind of just ignore the foot soldiers. Brisulph with the rockets, so it becomes even easier. Yeah, sub 2, 158, 157 for Brisulph. So he's on a great pace, without even having, despite the orb. Teleo at a 208. But as he has these rockets, he's got to pray he gets this orb, because this is where you're going to start losing time. Meanwhile, Teleo now with an orb and rockets, so advantage might shift here if Brisulph doesn't get these drops, but he does get rockets.
This is one thing that Brisulph's experience brings into play, is being able to work with very little, if not nothing. As when the game doesn't give you good stuff, sometimes you just have to do with what you have, and that's where Brisulph's experience comes in here. And we'll see how it plays out going on.
Definitely, the repetitions definitely help out, so you know what to do in all situations. Brisulph getting an orb as he's leaving the room at 2:55. Teleo still has the room under control, just waiting to get out of here. 3:03, very late.
So roughly an 8.5 second differential as we are here in the bonus room, and that leads along to tank trouble. The gunners, the tanks, the shrapnels, the foot soldiers, all coming at a huge, fervent pace.
Yeah, first drop for him will be a razor shield. Not a bad one. You can kind of forget about what's going around with you and take down the gunners. Meanwhile, Teleo getting rockets, so just as easy to take them out and get the center back, which both of them have under control completely at this point. Brisulph getting spreaders, having to go across the room to get him, but unfortunately, Teleo drops an orb and then gets it back immediately. As soon as he lost it, the drop popped up.
The game taketh away, the game giveth.
Indeed, he was trapped in the center there now, so he's definitely losing some time as Brisulph's out at a 4:04, at the very edge of a 4:04.
I'd buy that for $1.
Hoping for no flagrant errors here against Mutoid Man.
Yeah, Teleo unfortunately grabbing rockets but losing the orb at the same time, so he's out at a 4:20. Brisulph taking a death for the spreader right here. Grabs it, perfect location. Mutoid Man just sits still. First arm already going, no Mutoid Man even on Teleo's side at the moment. Grabbing rockets on Brisulph's side, more rockets as Teleo gets lobbers. Both just hammering away, nothing super special to write home about. Brisulph with the grenades, getting in the invulnerability, trying to sneak in some extra damage as he already has the chest exposed. Meanwhile, Teleo only with one arm. But this can change all that. Teleo gets a spreader right by the front door. As Brisulph gets a dead drop, Teleo now has a glitch toid, but Brisulph's rewarded with the spreader. They just got the manual. Unfortunately, he runs into him and then gets rewarded with an invulnerability shield immediately after.
The game certainly knows.
So they're all tied up form-wise, both with lobbers. Penultimate form, final form for Brisulph now. Final form for Teleo now. But he takes a death. Brisulph pounding away with lobbers and more lobbers. Teleo entering with the spreader. Advantage Brisulph, definitely. And as I say that, he kills the final form.
That's going to make it 2-1. Well, you knew it was going to be 2-1 one way or the other.
All right, Teleo now popping the head of the final form. So yeah, this, as you said, this will put Brisulph up 2-1. So now the advantage has shifted. But we're still early. We're only halfway through about. So still anyone's game. 6-19 on Teleo's side.
I mean, anything can happen. I mean, my Phillies were up 2-1 in the Astros in the World Series and then lost 3 straight to lose the World Series. If you're Brisulph, you're hoping that doesn't happen here, though.
Absolutely. I mean, I lost a match to Tetsuo getting knocked out where he was about, I think, 32 or 38 seconds behind, and he came in and swept it from me. So anything is possible. No time is too big of a lead. A few dead drops, a few spreaders at the right time, wrong time, depending on who you are, and everything shifts.
I mean, I'd argue that any lead in a race against me is more than a big enough lead, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, it also depends who you're racing. All right, we see Teleo readied up in the channel, just waiting for Brisulph to get ready here. What you're witnessing here is him. He's just waiting for the demo to start. Once it blacks out here, you can hold down the start button and just wait for it to pop up. And at that point, you have manipulated your first drop as a shield.
And in some good news, hopefully by the end of race number 4 here, I'll actually be able to transport back from the 1940s to 2023. Oh, the humanity!
Thank you, sir. Perfect timing as the race kicks off. All right, so Brisulph hanging out at the right door. Meanwhile, Teleo dropping the center immediately. Brisulph now just sweeping from populated door to populated door while shooting the opposing door. Brisulph going really aggressive, only 2 pieces left, and I mean, it shows. It did help. He's going to be leaving at a low 38. Meanwhile, Teleo out at a low 41, so a 3-second lead already for Brisulph. All right. Razor shield for Brisulph and vulnerability shield for Teleo, followed by a spreader. So rockets now for Brisulph. So as I say this, orb for Teleo. So pretty evened up here now with rockets on deck for Brisulph as he refills. Now a spreader. Dude, Brisulph's already out, 117. Teleo as well, 119. So this level right here is always a good little buffer. If you don't have an orb, you can know, you're not out of it yet. It does make the room easier, but you're hoping you get that orb by there. This Teleo gets a dud shrapnel. Brisulph now getting an orb and then rockets for both of them, or Teleo finishing up rockets. Brisulph about to grab some, so pretty evened up. No one should be going home sad out of here. Yep, 2 flat for Brisulph, 2 of 2 for Teleo, so no change here. Or no, actually Teleo got a second.
Okay, how are we looking now?
Oh, nice. Welcome to the future, or the present, I guess.
Yes, back to the present. Great Scott!
All right, so both have orbs. Brisulph had just used up a spreader, so Teleo for rockets now. So we're deep in here. Pretty even for both so far, though. So smart bomb. Brisulph's just going to ignore it. Doesn't want to take. Oh no, he takes it right at the end. Actually, very good usage because he continued to spawn. So at a 250, possibly a 249.
And you can see he is pumped in the camera, points at it, yells, "Let's go."
Yeah, 256 for Teleo, and that's not a bad time either. I mean, that's still PB level time, so, anything can happen here still.
Yeah, Chad has it right. When this race reaches 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious stuff.
Both in tank trouble. Brisulph taking out the left gunner, dancing around in the center with all the shrapnel and bullets. Teleo taking out the right gunner, doing the same dance moves.
Oh, nice grab of the rockets there. Woo! Sitting on the mine.
That was crazy. Brisulph came so close to losing that orb right there.
Teleo doing a good job of grabbing those rockets right by the south door.
Yeah, it's a very clean grab. It's going to set him up pretty to finish this room, as Brisulph's going to be leaving at a 401. Teleo now at a 407, so only a 6-second difference here.
That's basically the equivalent of an empty drop, so this is still anybody's game here. And Bry gets a spreader on the feet, forgoes the ball buster, and now is looking for a complimentary invulnerability, doesn't get it, and it's grenades on the feet. Let's see what comes up next here. Bry gets the lobbers. Teleo also with some lobbers, both with the right gunner. Now the right gunner gone on Brisulph's side. Teleo gonna switch over to grenades, lobbers for Brisulph. There's a spreader, and mother henning it, at least for a moment, is Mutoid Man on Bry's side. Gonna get some manuals in.
Teleo with the lobbers after Brisulph pops the second arm, so Brisulph up on the form, about half a form, as Teleo's now popping that same arm, but a chest, so basically a full form.
Yep, banking, trying to hit the lobber on that little trapezoid type shape underneath the chin of Mutoid Man.
Yeah, deals for a nice combo bonus damage as you're hitting many hitboxes at once. So you get more for your money there. Teleo popping the head now, so they're on the same form. Teleo getting attacks while Brisulph takes a death.
Yep, Bry got an empty drop of a key, now has the lobber. Going to be on final form now, switching over to the rockets. Final form for Teleo.
Yeah, Teleo
Bry using rockets. Teleo with the grenades, going to switch over, and the spreader's going to do it here. And that's going to put Bry up 3-1. And Teleo back against the wall here.
Yeah, I know Brisulph's probably not happy with these times, but a 6:01 is still a very, very good time in the game, as well as a 6:08, 6:09 from Teleo. Those aren't any times to shy away from.
Wholeheartedly agree there. Yeah, I mean, as much as you'd love a sub-6 at this particular point, sometimes the game with its RNG is just going to say no.
It's definitely a duet that needs to be sang by both. All right.
We're readying up here for game 5.
Break offered to the runners, but they offer not to take you. They just want to keep going. I appreciate that.
Good luck. Yeah.
All right, seeing both players now ready, so they should be counting in. This is game point for Brisulph, so Teleo needs to, pull the trousers up, tighten the belt, tighten the shoelaces, and get to stepping on here. He needs to really put it all together if he wants to continue.
Yep, triple match point here for Brisulph. Game 5 underway. Bry just needs one more. Teleo needs to win the next 3, but you got to do it one at a time.
Yeah, the future runs don't matter. Just what you're doing right now. Just focus on that. Don't worry.
Teleo going to pick up the foot to allow for a little more moving speed. Ignores the nuke. And is going to have a very slight lead, probably about a third to a half second.
Yep, Teleo with a 39, Brisulph with a 40, but yeah, definitely only half to a third second. Here we are.
We have the opening orb for Brisulph.
Oh, wow.
Not a great spot, but... and rockets to follow it up.
That's always beautiful. This is going to be a low time. When you have that combination that early, there's no way that your time's going to be high at that point.
Well, Razor Shield, at this point, it's too late in the room for it to matter. And you see there, a spicy 78 seconds.
Teleo still no orb dancing around to clean up the room as Brisulph starts the next one. 127 on Teleo's side, so significantly far behind, 10 seconds.
9 seconds already here. Bry going to ignore the nuke at the upper end here, as this is the one room, Eat My Shrapnel, where you don't want to use one of those nukes or smart bombs as they're known. As while it does wipe off the shrapnels on the screen, it just takes longer for them to spawn, so there's usually about, all told, about a 2-second penalty.
Yep, and you really don't want to run around. Teleo has to, but he's getting that orb at the end, so thankfully he should not lose further time. Total carnage. Brisulph not getting much special to write about. Now a spreader for him. Teleo as well with a invulnerability shield, so nothing special for him. Pretty even so far.
Teleo got a little close there with that one purple soldier, was able to keep the orb intact, keep that double firepower, and just nothing but Drek here in total carnage.
Yeah, Teleo just got rockets on the feet, followed unfortunately by spreaders on the feet, so at least he got a little bit of it. Brisulph's still getting nothing though, unfortunately.
A little TCTC, some terribly crappy total carnage.
255 though for Brisulph, so not shabby. Teleo with a 303.
Hey, Cards has his TTTT of typical tank trouble trash and various formations therein. I had to find some way to sneak similar alliteration in there.
Brisulph's first drop of foot in a bad location, so he's going to take care of the gunner, then go grab the foot. First drop for Teleo will be a foot in an even worse location, so he's going to ignore that but retreat to the corner. Oh man, I don't know how he didn't lose the orb right there. He danced a fine line. But then he just
there
locked
it goes. He danced a fine line, but that purple soldier decided to do the rumba all over the orb.
Brisulph in the center, controlling it nicely. Going to use this this bomb. Does so. The spawns keep coming, and that's the end of the room at a 405. Not bad. Teleo getting served up a rocket, so even though he doesn't have an orb, at least he can stay afloat. More rockets for Teleo on deck for reload, so he grabs them. Brisulph with rockets taking out both gunners on Mutoid Man.
Looking for the ball buster, gets it, so that's going to be 42% of a form, and that with the grenades, that pops off the arm, and no time to take a death for the spreader. So he's going to do some manuals here, getting a couple of them in, just decides, you know what, forget it, we're going to switch over to the lobbers, get some consistent damage, and then the game decides to give an invulnerability because, of course.
That's how this game does. I don't disagree with just, get the guaranteed damage if you know it, especially with how close some of these races have been. Chest popped on Brisulph's side. Meanwhile, Teleo still only one arm. As I say that, the second one starts to go. So a little over a form now as Brisulph now pops the head. So Teleo really losing time against this one.
Yeah, Teleo needs a spreader on the left side, and he needs it now.
So as that happens, they both pop a form. Now Brisulph's on the final while Teleo's still 2 or 3 back.
I don't think that lobber's going to be enough unless, yep. There's the head popping off, but Bry has back-to-back lobbers. This is going to do it here, I think. And it does.
Yeah, there it goes. That takes it. Brisulph wins this one. Teleo just now popping over to final form as Brisulph's out at a 555.
Oh, and there it is. No doubt about it. The home run, the trot, little Jose Batista action. Bam, there it goes. Bry always known for his walk-off celebrations, and there's another one. That is going to advance Brisulph into the winner's final, and he'll have a little bit of time to wait. He'll take on the winner of CHX, the 2 seed, and Aquas, the 6 seed.